Rise and Energize Her Morning Show is brought to you by Mogul TV Global Network, the #1 streaming TV network for positive programming in the Mid-Atlantic. To learn how you can energize your business and brand with media, visit www.themogulchannel.com. Calling all authors. Take your book beyond the book launch. Amplify your reach, boost your sales, and become the author everyone is talking about. We are celebrating phenomenal authors throughout the month of November 2024. So what are you waiting for? Unleash your book's power by scanning the QR code or going to the site on your screen.
All right, you all. So welcome to another episode of Healthy Chats. It's your girl, Carleeka Basnight-Menendez. Yes, all of that. And today we have an amazing guest with us as we're coming into Father's Day month. Okay, so look, get your gifts, do whatever, treat your dads, your granddads, your father figures, all the men, okay? And pray for the ones that just need to step it up, right? And that's an everyday thing. All of us are evolving. And so give them some grace to evolve too. Ladies, they have trauma and hurts and all of the things just like we do. And they want to be appreciated as well. So don't downplay Father's Day, okay? What they say, it takes two to tango. So yeah. In the midst of it, I have my brother, Gerod Ware, a.k.a. G, a.k.a. the best hype man and supporter, okay? Can text him, call on him, and he like, sis, I got you. So, Gerod, welcome to Healthy Chats. So glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Good morning to you, Miss Leeka, a.k.a. sis, a.k.a. the longest name in the alphabet, all that right there. I appreciate you. I appreciate it. It's an honor. And I definitely co-sign with what the plug you put out there for us fathers, because, it's one of those jobs that goes sometimes underappreciated, at least in words. When you unpack it, sometimes you learn people appreciate you. They just show it differently, right? So Absolutely. It is. But hey, my name is Gerod Ware. I'm the founder of the Floor is Yours podcast, where we really just put a focus on giving the floor to the audience so they can talk about their issues and some of the stuff that we cover about relationships, financial literacy, community activism, politics, religions, you name it. We really just try to put the opportunity out there to let the people talk about the things that are nearest and dearest to their heart. So something about me, I'm a military veteran, served 26 years in the military, retired a few years ago, community activist, father, and just I think I'm a good friend too. So
absolutely. Absolutely. So first of all, thank you for your service of 26 years. You all, y'all gotta respect the veterans out there, okay? And those who are still serving as well. And so, Gerod, welcome. And I appreciate you taking time out of your morning to join me on just having a healthy conversation about fatherhood, about life, and just some of the things that you're doing to make an impact in other people's lives. So first of all, what is one thing, right, as a father that literally just makes you, that big Kool-Aid smile?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my daughter, I have one biological daughter and a host of other just bonus, kids, whether it's my nieces, nephews, kids of past relationships, things like. But they ask that question often, like, what do you need? Like, what makes you tick? And for me, it's appreciation, and appreciation can show itself in a number of ways. And for me specifically, when I see the lessons I've tried to teach, the examples I've tried to exude, when I see that reflected in their behaviors, right? So if I'm talking about, hey, be responsible, be nice, be polite, be accountable, and I'm seeing them doing it, like that warms my heart. Gifts and all that are nice, but when I see the lessons I'm trying to teach and show them, when I see that being practiced, like that warms my heart.
Oh, and as a mom, I can relate to that. The seeds that you pour and you wondering, are they listening? Are they putting up,
right?
Is this registering? But to see it manifest.
Yeah. Because when you're teaching it, right, you'll see them. They're looking like, man, if he don't shut up, right. Here he go again. They don't say it, out loud. I'm sure it's in their mind.
Right.
But yeah, when you see it manifest, them seeds you planted, oh man, it's good. It's a good thing.
It is. And it makes you feel so, as a father, you said the appreciation, because a lot of our kids, you know, they get gifts, they do cards, but it's like, as parents, you're not even expecting a tangible gift. But what is one best gift that you probably tangible gift that you've ever received, best or funny or anything that you may even still have?
Oh man. So I get this asked a lot, right? And so I'm the type, just set that up. I'm the type, what I want, I go get it. And if it pops in my mind and I got an hour of 30 minutes in the day, I'm going to get it. So shopping or buying a gift for me might be a little difficult. So you end up a lot of times buying stuff for me that I don't necessarily need, because if I need it, I get it. If I even want it, I'm going to
Okay,
get it.
G, is that a male thing? Because we be having the same problem over here. Okay. I ain't gonna call out the address, but over here we be having the same problem. We be like, okay, he said this, and okay, so we trying to listen. I got the kids, we like, okay, he said that. When that come out this, and then when we don't, we like, when did you?
Yeah. I'm gonna go get it. That's what I do. And that's me. So I'll say this: what really hit me one time and really showed me a friend how much he paid attention. An old friend, we've been friends for years. She's in the military. She was like, Gerod, you do a lot for everybody. I want to do something for you. And I was just like, man, I don't know. Like, I don't need anything. She was like, quit saying that. I'm like, but I really don't. So we got into the discussions talking about the things that I buy for myself. Like, what is it? I'm like, I go get watches, colognes, and, the typical thing. Well, it was Christmas time and just showed up. Some showed up in the mail. She bought me this really nice watch. It wasn't super expensive, but it was just a nice watch. And you could tell that she had been paying attention to, my style and the things I like, and even the current trend in fashion, and that was in 2020, right when COVID happened. And we hadn't seen each other in a number of years because, everybody was indoors, and we had just retired. Both had retired from the military, and he gifted me with a watch, and it was pretty meaningful. Yeah. And
I think that is so important, that people around you just paying attention, right? Yeah. Paying attention, and sometimes is really the little things that okay, I think he really like this, right? This is really his style, or this is really him, or this is his favorite meal, right? Or his favorite restaurant, right? Even when I travel for work, there have been times I know what my husband likes to eat from Longhorn or whatever. So I'm like, hey, go pick up your food. And he's like, huh? Yeah, go pick up your dinner. Right. So some things, like you said, it don't have to be expensive, but it's the thought that people put in, not just the thought that matters, you all. I'm talking about the thought, the time that you actually put into thinking about that person. And I do believe, I hear a lot of times coming up on Father's Day, be like, oh, well, because they just going to bypass that. And Father's Day is like, not hyped up as much as Mother's Day.
Yeah. It's true. And, I made a post a couple years ago, and it was, it was unjust, but there's some seriousness to it too, of course. But it was telling women, like, do not go out and get that 500-piece tool set for $20. That ugly tie or that Bluetooth that disconnects every 20 seconds. Like, if you're going to take your time to think of something, because I get it, you want to show your appreciation.
Absolutely.
Pay attention and actually put some thought into it if you're going to do it.
So how did fatherhood, and you have one biological daughter, and you said you have a host, right? And that's why I said in the beginning, father figures, because sometimes we don't even realize till kids graduate, or later kids in the neighborhood. I've seen it with my own eyes, where we would have young men coming in, Coach TJ, and I'm like, but that influence, right? That impact in someone's life. And so for you say you have a host of mentor, like a mentor dad, right?
Yeah. About 12 of them total. Yeah. Seriously, about 12 total. And they cost not just money, but time and, emotional sacrifices. But it's fun. I'm not complaining about it. But about 12 total that I am actively involved in, their day-to-day being. So
that is highly commendable, because we do have some that don't have 12 in the involvement, and they're not involved in one. Okay.
Tell the truth.
But as a father figure, what impact have you noticed that the lack of, so let's back up a little bit, your father in your life or not, or what does that look like?
So really this whole situation shapes everything about me. So my biological father, I can probably count 5-6 times that I remember seeing him. And I got a good memory. I remember back to 3 or 4 years old. So not saying that I remember everything, or every interaction with him.
Right.
But the ones I do remember, I can, 4, maybe 5 times. And he passed away. I was away in a military school, a leadership course. And my mom called me and she was like, "Hey, Carl died." And I'm like, "Who?" She was like, "Carl." And I'm like, "Okay, Carl who?" She was like, "Gerod." I'm like, "Mama." She's like, "You don't know who Carl?" And it hit me then, it must be somebody else. I'm like, "Oh." I mean, Libby hadn't talked to him in decades. So when she brought it up, he was just that far gone out of my, mind. And the reason being,
wow.
Well, part of that was she was with my stepdad since I've been almost 5 years old. And he's just been that stable presence in my life. So that was that to me, And so, yeah, that shaped who I am, to see somebody stand in the gap, fill in the gap when he didn't have to. And he didn't just, that old saying, don't just show up to the dance when you get there. He was that guy. He showed up and he danced and taught and mentored. And it wasn't always in words, it was in behaviors. And I found myself, being a lot like him, even though the blood, wasn't there. Right. But his presence was everything, and it shaped who I am. So wow.
And you're probably like, dang, she nosy, right? No, but I do.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You get backstory, because you get a better understanding of not what people do, but why we move and shape the way that we do.
Yeah.
And I think that is so vital, because there's so many people out here still longing for that father figure, biologically especially, or their biological father has passed or different things, and they're still trying to figure out that emotional, psychological piece of their life, still in believing like something is missing, right? You're an example that, though my biological father, I remember some things, but I had a stepfather who literally stepped in and exemplified what a father is and who a father can evolve into being. And so I think that is like a vital piece.
And it was at the highest levels too. And, as I got older and people started to be more vocal about step parents, it was weird to me, because I'm like, stepdad, like I never called him that. It was always dad, like always. So, start, as you got older and start to, talk about what you've been through, it was weird to say, yeah, my stepdad. Well, he's my stepdad. Oh, when I began to tell my story.
Too. When people became more vocal, right?
Yeah.
Because I used to even think that, and a lot of times now, like, people don't want to say my father-in-law, my mother-in-law. It's all mother-in-love, this, that, and the third, whatever terminology you want to use. It's about the real relationship at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So you can use whatever words you want that make you feel good. But you're right. When you said that, I'm like, right, because our family is blended, right? And a lot of times that's not the easiest for people. You don't have conversations that should be had the proper way, in a healthy way. And so when you said that, I'm like, wow, yeah, because back in the day, you really did not hear. And I didn't think that a lot of step parents got a lot of credit.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
I mean, that's just my take on it. Yeah. Some people will say, okay, well, you're blended family. Do they call you mom, stepmom, whatever the case may be? one, their mothers are alive, right? So, and I never had an expectation for them to be like mom, but I think at 5 years old, right, growing up around someone from adolescent, you build that type of rapport, that type of relationship. And so for you with your tribe, okay?
Yeah, the tribe, sure.
What are some things like what are some fires or you had to fuel out or that mentorship and impact that you have made?
Yeah, and I can tell a million stories, but there are two that really stand out above all. All of them are important in their own right in life. But so one, I was just at a graduation a couple of days ago. Ex, it's a man, very emotional story. But ex is raising her niece. Wow. Because the niece's mother, my ex's sister, died of brain cancer. And so she took her own, Lord, I'm guessing the age she had to be 12, 13 years old, right? One of the most impressionable parts of her life, the years of her life. And not only did her mom pass, dad was absent. And, so it's, and, but my ex, she showed up. It was no questions asked, they had already started to prepare. But when it happened, she, took her in and, she was a travel nurse. So they moved around the country and whatnot. Well, she ended up settling here in Texas about 4 years ago. Wow. And just immediately, took her, because I had met the little girl, her name is Jordan. I had met Jordan years ago. But, this time, you could just see it in her trying to find out where she belongs and wanting to know how important she was to others. And to others, like she didn't want to be that burden. You could just sense that in her, right? But we clicked immediately, and it just took off from there. Well, she just graduated in Mississippi. She's there with her other part of her family, just had more support there. She graduated in Greenwood, Mississippi, Thursday. So I went to the graduation, and she made me a shirt, and she put on there bonus parent, and it was just to watch her, in spite of everything that she dealt with, like she celebrated the moment. She talked about, I thought I was going to cry, but I did good. And I'm just, and she's talking, putting it all in perspective based off of what she's been through. And of course, it wasn't just me, but I do know that there was impact and understand the importance of male presence, a consistent male presence in her life. And I tried to be that as much as I could to my ability, my capacity, and just to see her at this stage and knowing it's not over. Now, there's college. We're talking about college. She wanted to be a dentist. We talked about that. Yeah. She's talking to me about relationships and friendships, and she has bullying issues at school. All the stuff that kids have to deal with that I have to step in and be a part of. Right, her sense of belonging and worthiness and validation, all that stuff, and to see it's working, right? It's not over, it's ongoing, but that's one of the most important.
Well, congratulations, Jordan, and we pray for all of your amazing success. And wow, that is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, Jordan. She's amazing. She is amazing spirit, man. She is.
Wow. Perseverance, resilience, and the testimony that she will have to share. And I do believe that there are still villages out here, right? Everyone is not just me and mine on a biological end, but it's saying we are a village, and that village may be miles and miles away. But to know that they can pick up that phone, FaceTime or do whatever, to know that someone like you is in their life to give them the real truth from a male perspective, right? And different things emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and all of those things. Yes. Bonus parent, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. Y'all, you might need your tissues for that, because I got chills over here like, wow.
Yeah, it's a powerful story. You know, if you go to Hollywood, I'm sure there's several scripts written similar to those kind of stories, because they're real, they're impactful, personable, and people go through them at some level, you know, whether it's a parent or just some level, you know, of acceptance and validation, where they're trying to see, like, do I belong? Do I fit? Kind of thing. And, you know, it's real.
Well, thank you for sharing such a vulnerable story, right? I know you over there crying too. I get it.
Like, I already cried, so I don't have to anymore.
Look, I'm trying to tell you. But it's these stories that, and you said just the present. So men, right, as we celebrate you, not just Father's Day month or Father's Day, but all throughout the year, think of the impact that you're making even when you're not opening your mouth.
Oh man, yeah.
Like your presence makes impact. Yeah. So even in those moments when, because your kids and you all, we're not going to agree on every single thing, right? That's just not the way it goes. We're not going to agree on every single thing, but understanding more so that your presence is so powerful without you having to say a word. Your presence is needed. Your presence is wanted. And if you're a male, you know, and you may not even be a father yet, but you may be a father figure, uphold that. You know how they say like a badge of honor?
Yeah, yes.
It's an honor.
And even if no one says it, you know, you can see it in their behavior, right? But what's that old saying? It ain't the presence, Presents, but the presence, you actually being there. And that's priceless.
Yo, that we gonna have to end right there, y'all, because we'll be here another 30 something minutes, because that right there is not the presence. It ain't all them gifts you be buying. But it's your presence that in this time, more people, more children, more spouses, more families are needing you being present, and not just on a holiday, but 365 and whatever. Take your time, do what you need to do for yourself, because you need to show up for you too in order to show up for those around you. But it's not the presence, it is your presence. And so if you're saying, you know what, my baby mama, my wife, or my kids, they don't want to deal with me, you know what, you got to start somewhere. And it starts with you taking accountability. It starts with you doing your own healing, right? So that you can show up and be present. And that's even in your communities, whether that's on a basketball team, football team, wherever. Right?
Can I say something about that too? You said your own healing, because sometimes you heal when you're in the fight, when you're actually facing and dealing with the very things that damaged you, right? You know, they always say hurt people. Sometimes hurt people can help heal people too, but you don't know how strong you are, how what's the word I'm looking for? How resilient you are until you're in that situation that nearly broke you before. So I'm not saying that my lack of relationship with my biological father broke me, but it did affect me. And until I get into that arena again and being able to be what he wasn't, and I realized like, wow, man, I'm more normal than I thought, you know. So a lot of times, a lot of the burden I carried was up here. And you know, I wasn't even dealing with it. It was just something I thought I was supposed to carry, you know, and it's going to affect me the rest of the life. And it may influence, but it doesn't define who I am. And it shows in my interaction with those that I have made a decision to be part of their lives too. So sometimes you got to get in the fight to know that, hey, you're better than what you even thought that you were.
I love that. And you can change it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, even if someone's father was not there, that doesn't mean if you have children that you don't have to be there, nor do you have to go around every day saying, I don't never want to be like him. I don't never want to be like him. I don't never want to be like him, because most times
that is important.
Then not, right? And so I love that. Just show up, be present, get in the fight.
And realize that you don't have to You know, this other thing that men deal with is like, yeah, she call her mama for everything. Even on Father's Day, we out there cooking, we barbecuing on Father's Day, we, you know, all that. But it is really a gift for me, like to show up and to have that space that where you can be that person, even if it's you cooking on Father's Day. Like, I embrace it, and it's a beautiful thing, you know, because you're in that space with someone that looks up to you in that capacity. And I just want to tell the men, like, don't get into this competition where you're trying to measure the level of involvement between, you know, you and the mother. You know, it's different. The mother's love is different, but that doesn't take away from the father's love. I know people that say, yeah, I'm a daddy's girl. I'm a daddy's girl all day, every day. But it's still a different relationship they have with their mother. So, yeah, just being that quiet leader sometimes, you know, sometimes it's less talking. And again, just more being, just present, just being there. And, you know, you might only hear from them once every 2 or 3 weeks, you know, when they're out there in the world doing their thing, but cherish it, embrace it, and just be there. So
just be there. And I love that. And you all look, if they don't have to cook, but you know, a lot of men who cook, they prefer sometimes to cook, and like you said, it is a joy, right? It is a joy for them. Yeah, and just being surrounded by love and laughter, and not even, you know, all of the gifts. So let me ask you this before we hop off of here: are you a balloon person? Right? Do men want? Do you want flowers? Do you want balloons? Anything? No.
Watches and cologne. Hey, here's my new thing. I like belts too. I've been working on my belt collection too. So yeah, watches, cologne, and belts.
Look, they're probably like, flowers for a man. I'm just saying, you know, we always saying, let me give you your flowers now.
Hey, I get it. Hey, give my flowers in the form of a belt. No, but you know, that's it. That's I don't want to speak for all men. Some men may want flowers, you know, but I'm good over
Look,
there.
You all got it first, right? Belts, colognes, watches, right? Maybe slide a balloon in there. I don't know, but nevertheless, if anything, show appreciation.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can do that in a plethora of ways. Look, maybe you won't cook dinner for Dad this year, but maybe you'll go ahead and make him breakfast. And if you're not, if you can't cook, it's okay. It's okay. That might not be your thing. Order something, DoorDash something, go pick something up, right? Yeah. Go to his favorite spot and just do some things that he would love to do. Gerod, let everyone know how they can connect with you. You all make sure you tune into the Floor is Yours podcast. Amazing conversations, enlightening, impacting lives all around the globe. And let us know, and then anything that you may have coming up, let us know that as well, and any last encouraging words.
Yeah, so Gerod Ware, GerodWare. I'm on all social media platforms. You can follow me on Facebook. You can also find the Floor is Yours podcast on Facebook and YouTube. So reach out there if you want to connect with me on anything. But right now, I'm heavily involved in politics. You know, you only need to turn on the news or the radio, and you realize how impactful politics are in our community. And when I say that, I don't say we're neglecting the needs of anybody else, but you know, it's one right now. It is urgent. You know, just our survival, our well-being. So I'm involved doing a lot in that space right now. What do I have going up? Me and you, we just talked before the show, so I'm putting you on the spot right now. We talked about how Black businesses are struggling, right? So I want to put something together with my great sister Carleeka.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about Black businesses, how they survive. And you created a title. I won't put it out there because I don't want anybody to steal it. But I think we can have a meaningful conversation in that space and put it out there that gives people something to do more than complain about it. And I'm not reducing the complaining that's out there because they're warranted. But at the end of the day, what we're going to do about it. So I'm gonna ask you to be a part of that discussion
Absolutely.
here in the near future. Yeah,
I'm here for it. And like you said, the complaining, I don't know about you all, but when I am looking up reviews, I go to the bad reviews. And even in business, a little tip right here. If you are in alignment with a business and you all are kind of doing the same services, look at the bad reviews. So those are the things that you don't do. And then the things that people are complaining about, those are the things that you sell.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. So yeah,
I'm just saying that might just be a little. Well, we just threw that in there, okay? Because I ain't no business coach or anything like that, but that's just when you're doing your research. Nevertheless,
you ain't a business coach, but you're smart, you're as kind, and you're as important.
Y'all, we getting off of here because we finna cut up, okay? Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Healthy Chats with Gerod Ware, owner of the Floor is Yours podcast. You all, happy Father's Day. And we're celebrating not just for the month of June, but we want to celebrate you all month long, all year long, actually. 365, because you're not a father just on Father's Day or in the month of June. You show up 365, and we appreciate you. And if you don't hear it anymore or haven't heard it, you're a great father. You're doing great things. Even if you're like, I fell in short, moms, we do too. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
No one is perfect, but heal, show up, and be present. We'll talk to you all soon. Thank you, Gerod.
My pleasure.